Hello to you. Once again, this is part 2 now. This is Jesse Johnson. This is part 2 and of basic flying saucer science and Tesla physics, which includes ether physics. Now, we'll start from part 1 at the end and go into part 2. Now, to begin, a saucer's general mechanical structure, that which makes it work, its mechanical structure transmutes field states from classical physics to modern physics, all the way to Tesla physics, where ZPR, zero-point radiation, and ether interact at much higher force levels. The so-called classical physics space is saturated and totally permeated by super ultra-fine matter that permeates all atomic, subatomic states and space in the form of zero-point energy, zero-point radiation, zero-point matter, and zero-point force. Inertia is equal to the different angles of turns of pitch and turns per distance frequency of super ultra micro helices in ordered super permeating of things, bodies, and objects. With a hovering flying saucer or Tesla flying craft, the electric field is externalized to the saucer with current passing radially from the top center and down the center of the saucer. Tesla pancake coils with a capacitor and with a Faraday buzzer, which is a substitute for a spark gap, converts DC current from a battery or other source into very high negative pulses. All force is fields creating fields. That is what force is. Nikola Tesla, in tests, found that at the needed high frequency voltage, the ether became solid state and is similar to solid mass. The flying saucer's surface draws in tubes of force which dissolves in the conductor, creating propulsive force. And since ether is super ultra fine, it passes into the attracting surface, carrying tubes of force into the mass. The force itself is forced to dissolve by the very high frequency blocking current of AC, that's alternating current, at the back end of the ship, leaving ether to pass through the body, producing effects of acceleration of mass. All systems of a saucer ship is 100% saturated with ether to subatomic levels, experiencing no internal saucer disturbances or pressure. With respect to the saucer electro-propulsion, the ether is approximately stationary to the universe, but is dynamic to the earth and matter, of which both are composed. Look at this illustration, please. Look at this illustration, 1 second. Look at this illustration. Now, all around is ether, 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 all saturated. And this here is an ether carrier. Right here, where this ether carrier, this almost formless blob looking thing, is an ether carrier, and within the ether carrier is a super ultra microhelical tube of force. This is a tube of force. Tube of force. A tube of force right here. Right here. The dotted line. And within the dotted line is a super ultra microhelical force helical. This is approximately what is being described when I talk. Now, to continue. Now, once again, all systems of the saucer ship is 100% saturated with ether to the subatomic levels, experiencing no internal saucer disturbances or pressure. With respect to the saucer's electro-propulsion, the ether is approximately stationary to the universe, but dynamic to earth and matter, of which both are composed. The tube of force super ultra microhelicals are similar to this, as I've explained on the illustration. The Tesla flying craft pushes and pulls through the rigid ether, permeating it by the Hall, H-A-L-L, the Hall effect. By forcing the ether through it, it moves through the ether. This movement of push and pull is produced by inducing the tubes of force of electrical and magnetic force to enter the saucer surface, then stripping them away to impart momentum to conductive parts of the ship. The ether carriers are exchanged through the flying saucer's electrical surface, leaving behind momentum, which is the product of dissolved tubes of force, satisfying the equal and opposite action-reaction law. Electromagnetic force pumps the ether, which creates tubes of force through the mass field of the saucer. Hold on, please, for 1 second. I'm going to do this. Hold on for just 1 second, please. Now, to continue. The tubes of force are the source of inertia, momentum, polarity, precession, and can be turned off, on, or reoriented to accelerate, decelerate, or change direction. The effects of sudden changes are cancelled with recreation of new effects inside the conductors, as the tubes of force are dissolved in them, which insulates the ship and its contents from the effects of the tubes themselves. Individual ether carriers have individual tubes of force, creates a resistance inertia to change of acceleration or direction of a body. As a body moves, the tubes of force unite and are dissolved in the body, perpetuating its motion in the direction of travel at 90 degrees to the tubes of force and the current. The microhelical tubes of force have pitch, angle, and angular velocity at the speed of light. The saucer can only move at a maximum fraction percent of light speed. At constant velocity, the helices are without friction. With helices in parallel motion, the body acts and reacts with the ether and zero-point radiation. The microhelices resist changes in pitch, momentum, and polarity. The saucer's inertia, internal friction caused by any and all changes in orientation. The saucer's inertia, which is caused by internal friction, caused by any and all changes in orientation or pitch of microhelices, tubes of force. For the ether to react as a continuous electrically conductive rigidified elastic fluid in respects to the negatively charged saucer surface and its total mass. The high frequency, high voltage, negative pulses carried by the Tesla flying craft's surface in one direction creates a magnetic field across the surface at 90 degrees to the current and magnetic field, other magnetic fields according to the Hall effect, Hall. As ether carriers and tubes of force are pumped through the crisscrossing electric and magnetic fields on the saucer surface, where the tubes of force are separated from the ether carriers, dissolving in the conductors. All inertia, momentum, forces of space, all inertia, momentum, forces of space are manipulated by the saucer's powerful electromagnetic effects, with the flying saucer's movement being the equal and opposite action effect. The EFF, or Earth force field, and the UFF, the universal field of force, inertia, and momentum, involve electromagnetic polarization resulting from disturbance of the ether, the zero-point radiation, the zero-point energy, and its transmission. Ether and zero-point radiation permeates all mass. Mass being a specific complex field contour of many interacting fields of electrical, magnetic, zero-point radiation, ether, motions, inertia, and tubes of force. The flying saucer or Tesla flying craft work on basic, true, scientific, electrical, magnetic, and ether physical principles known for over 120 years. Flying saucers use electromagnetic interactions with almost no net amperage energy consumption. The Earth's field force is the result of an imbalance. Gravity does not exist. The Earth's field force is the result of an imbalance in the electrostatic charge and field mass content of the Earth. All mass is already in motion. Inertia is a resistance to that change. Inertia and momentum are electromagnetic phenomenons. From a physics standpoint, now ether carriers, tubes of force show that ether is space dependent. Physics speaking, that is. Now, Tesla pancake coils use alternating high frequency, high voltage inductance to produce electrostatic DC pulses. Ether carriers react with negative pulses to attract them to the conductor, creating and bringing along the tubes of force, which are dissolved in the conductor, imparting momentum to the conductor and its contents and attachments, or the whole ship. With a Tesla flying craft or flying saucer and its physical structure and makeup, charges are generated by motive power within it to affect the ether external to it. Without this affect, nothing happens. This is to draw in and dissolve the tubes of force to accelerate it. the production of moving charges, the production of moving negative charges is needed. The Tesla pancake coils manipulate and recreates and magnifies the forces between atoms and between charges to control the Earth's field force. Gravity does not exist. Gravity is a product of the heliocentric religion universe. It does not exist. Now, to continue to control the Earth's field force and the universal field force to accelerate at great speed. As pulses of high voltage, high frequency negative charges move outward over the hull, creating a protective envelope, shielding the saucer's hull from friction, heat, and dampens the sonic boom, creating an electrical corona. Also useful is stainless steel, using 2 large Tesla pancake coils. Rapidly varying electrostatic forces are directly related to the EFF, Earth's field force, and the flying saucer's propulsion. Those having access to flying saucer ownership or working on such projects are controlled by national security contracts, the highest top secret clearance in existence itself. Now, this has been part 2. And meet me at part 3. Please share this video and subscribe, of course, and we will meet each other in a little while, in a day or two, on part 3. I want to thank everyone for listening and watching, and have a favorable day.